What's going on?
I do not know where my daughter is.
Did she run away?
No,
Where was she last seen?
she was here with me.
What was she wearing?
A purple shirt and like pink pajamas, like a t-shirt. She was
The pants were pink?
Say again?
Okay, just stay on the line with me. Do you know where she could have gone?
No.
Have you checked?
Like she just came home. I just picked her up on Halloween night. She was with my mom in Alabama.
Okay, have you checked the house?
Yes.
Okay. Did she have a favorite hiding spot in the house? Like under
No.
the bed?
I checked on her there.
Okay, let's check again. Go to her bedroom. And let's check her closet. Nobody else in the house has seen her?
No, it's just me and her.
All right, are you in her room? Okay. Check under her bed again. Come on, as fast as they can.
On November 6, 2019, the quiet neighborhood of Southside Jacksonville was abruptly shaken by a chilling emergency call. Brianna Williams, a former Navy petty officer, contacted 911 reporting that her 5-year-old daughter, Taylor Rose, was missing. As the dispatcher asked questions about Taylor's possible whereabouts to determine whether Brianna had checked thoroughly, Brianna broke down crying, saying that she didn't know where her daughter had gone. Speaking of keeping track of family, a big thank you to MyHeritage for sponsoring today's video. As someone deeply interested in where I come from, researching my family history has been incredibly rewarding. I've always heard stories told in my family about my Creole and African ancestors, and probably like many of you, I've also heard the stories about having Native American ancestry too. But now, thanks to MyHeritage, I can pinpoint exactly where these stories come from. Learning about my ancestors has given me a newfound pride and confidence, and with my love for researching things, naturally, I've become one of my family's ancestry historians. MyHeritage is the leading global service for family history research and DNA testing. Trusted by 90 million users, it makes building your family tree simple and so much fun. With over 20 billion historical documents available, it's amazing to see how much you can discover, whether you're finding new relatives or tracing your roots back through history. One of the most exciting features is called Instant Discoveries. Check this out. With just one click, I can add 40 new people to my family tree because MyHeritage already had the information from relatives' trees. I even found a record of my great-great-great-grandmother that I never knew existed. I found her here with my great-aunt Agnes and her godson Walter. Some time ago, my mom told me about Walter's regular visits during summers, and lo and behold, here they are together on the 1920 census. If Mom hadn't told me about him before this, I probably would have questioned whether this was the right record. My maman, as we call our grandmothers in Louisiana, has been so hard to locate on census records. I had almost given up. I can't believe I finally found her. And it's not just about the names and dates. MyHeritage has advanced AI technologies for repairing, enhancing, colorizing, and even animating old photos. You can start building your family tree and discover your origins today. Sign up for a 14-day free trial using the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen.
ASU Charlie 116. 1012. 1020 is going to be 661 Ivy. 661 Ivy. Hey. All right, man. All right. Hey, tell us what happened.
I woke up this morning and started getting back from work.
Cancel that.
She wasn't in her room.
Okay. Have you had any problems with anybody? Okay. Anything unusual? Okay. Do you live by yourself?
Just me and her.
Okay.
The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office responded swiftly. Officers arrived at Brianna's apartment, where she was visibly upset. However, despite her emotional display, there were immediate signs that something was amiss. After questioning Brianna, the officers searched the house, hoping to find clues that could lead them to the cause of Taylor's mysterious disappearance. They found nothing except a scanty bedroom and some stains on the wall. After a search of Brianna's car, local law enforcement quickly mobilized, setting up a command center and deploying resources for a more comprehensive search.
Okay. Show me which door was locked real quick. Or unlocked. Was it the back door? Okay. Said, no sign of the child. They recently moved in over the weekend to this residence. No signs of forced entry. Okay. When did you move in?
Like, I started moving stuff. Well, I signed the lease back in June, but the place kept getting broken. So I didn't want to move there, but the guy was like, they can't put me in their risk.
Okay, when did you actually move in? In June or?
No, like a week ago, a few days ago.
Okay. Today's Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay. Did you move in, let's say, over the weekend?
Yeah.
Alright. Alright.
How tall is
She's like 1 year.
What do you figure, 3 foot? 3 foot, I guess.
still here?
She is in the afro.
I'm just 7541.
Let's say brown skin. I'll put out bolo in a second. And she was wearing purple. What was she wearing? That's
She's wearing pink and purple.
pink and purple pajamas. Does she have any scars or anything? Okay. Okay. And the pink and purple pajamas, were they full length or half length?
It was like a t-shirt.
T-shirt? Okay. And what about the bottoms? Were they full length or were they full? Let me get your name, ma'am.
Brianna?
Brianna? B-R-E? B-R-E?
B-R-I.
B-R-I, I'm sorry. B-R-I?
A-N-N-A.
A-N-N-A. What's your middle name, ma'am?
Shante.
S-H?
S-H-O-N-T-A-E.
A-E. And your last name?
Williams.
W-I-L-L-I-A-M-S. What's your date of birth, ma'am?
April 2nd, 1992.
April 2nd, 92. Okay.
Police officers, joined by volunteers, dive teams, and cadaver dogs, surrounded the area around Brianna's South Side apartment, scouring every inch for any clue that might lead to Taylor's whereabouts. As the hours turned into days, the intensity of the search only heightened. Police and volunteers extended their efforts beyond the immediate vicinity, widening the search area to include nearby parks and wooded areas. Search dogs and helicopters were deployed to search the area, but Taylor was nowhere to be found. The police officers began sharing flyers with Taylor's picture throughout Jacksonville and surrounding regions, and community members joined the effort, driven by the hope of finding the missing girl. However, despite the massive mobilization, frustration began to mount. As days passed, the lack of concrete leads or evidence grew increasingly concerning. The search, initially fueled by optimism, faced challenges as the days wore on. The media coverage highlighted the growing concern among residents and the increasing pressure on authorities to bring Taylor home. Surprisingly, most neighbors said they had seen Brianna, but had never seen a child with her.
Now, we also learned investigators spoke with one of Brianna Williams' neighbors here at her old apartment complex on the south side. Now, the neighbor told investigators that he would frequently see little Taylor walking around the complex by herself. He says when he met her the first time, Taylor says she was wandering around, and when he asked what she was doing, he told investigators she said, quote, "looking for my mother." The neighbor also said he would see Taylor always wearing her pink and purple pajamas, the same pajamas described in the Amber Alert. He also told officers the last time he saw Taylor was back in May, and that he never saw the child as Brianna moved out during Halloween weekend.
And I'm usually here during the day, so I see a lot of kids going in and out. So if I see her, I
What should we do if we see her?
call no.
Call 911?
Yeah, don't even bother calling the non-emergency number. Just call 911 immediately.
After an unsuccessful search, the police decided to bring Brianna in for an interview, hoping to find leads for Taylor Rose. As she entered the investigation room, minutes before the officers who would interview her came in, Brianna seemed oddly at ease and quickly went to sleep. When one of the officers introduced herself, Brianna became visibly uncomfortable and almost reluctant to speak. Then she repeated the story about how she discovered her daughter had gone missing.
Hey, Brianna. Back again. You all right? You need anything? Water or anything? You okay? You need to go to the restroom or anything? You good? You sure? All right. I'm sorry we had to meet under these stressful circumstances. I'm going to, also registered with our missing persons unit, right? Well, based on the investigation, the age of your child, and everything going on, I'm also a detective, but I'm assigned to our cold case unit, which also I'm part of the CART team, which is the Child Abduction Response Team. So, and I don't want to stress you out on that. Listen to me. Look, I just want to explain what I do, all right, and what resources, okay? I mean, Missing Persons is doing an outstanding job. We can extend a little bit more than that, okay? And we have a little bit more specialty on that. So that's how I get involved, because we don't know what happened, okay? We don't know what's going on. We don't know after she left out of the house what happened to her. So this could be a criminal investigation. You understand what I'm saying, hon? Look at me. Listen to me, okay? We're doing everything we can. We got everybody out there looking for her. Okay, we've got everything going, but I want to make sure we cover everything. Okay, so then you went into her room and you saw that
she wasn't in her bed. Mm-hmm. I looked under, well, she got like a little baby bed, so she can't really fit underneath it, but I looked underneath there anyway. I checked her closet. Then I went in my room and looked underneath my bed. I know she wanted to come in my room, like she's very well mannered, like she'll knock or ask to come in. Okay. And I checked in my bathroom, I checked my closet. She wasn't in there. So then I just started checking the cabinets. And she wasn't in there either. Like, okay, I'm gonna go outside. And I checked my car just to be sure that, I definitely didn't leave her in the freaking car. Okay. So I looked underneath the car, she wasn't there either. Okay, and then what? And then I called 911. Okay. I can't find her.
Okay. What time did you see her before then?
It was like around midnight.
During this period, the police watched Brianna very closely. Although she was initially cooperative, her behavior began to raise suspicions. Investigators noted that her emotional responses seemed inconsistent with the gravity of the situation. Brianna's reluctance to answer certain questions and her increasingly strange behavior began to draw their attention. Her emotional responses seemed forced, and her interactions with investigators lacked the urgency one would expect from a grieving parent. Surveillance footage and body camera recordings revealed that, despite her intermittent displays of distress, she remained unusually calm and detached. When the detectives questioned her, they noticed she was a bit evasive, and her answers often ignored crucial details. After a while, Brianna's story changed. This time she said that she heard a noise like something was being dragged from upstairs, which she later claimed was from the roof since her apartment didn't have an upper floor. Ironically, she said she took her gun and checked around the house, but didn't check her daughter's room.
Did you check on her prior to you going to sleep?
No.
Okay, so you assume that she was asleep? Okay. Did you hear any noise coming from her room or anything like that?
Not from her room, but there were like, I can't even explain it. Like, there were like when you're dragging something or you moving something, but it was coming from upstairs. And either way, like, I'll just grab my gun and, walk around to make sure, okay, there's nobody in here.
Coming from upstairs of the house that you're in?
And there are no stairs. That's the part that I didn't understand, but it definitely sounded like it was coming from the roof.
Okay. Did you wake up hearing this noise?
Yes. Like the little, whatever noise it was, it sounded like it changes. Like sometimes I can hear like near where I sleep. Sometimes it's like back towards the kitchen area.
Okay. And it sounded like dragging noise?
Yes, it's like somebody's moving something or walking.
So you said you grabbed your gun. So you have a gun?
I grabbed my gun and then.
Did you check the house?
Yes, I walk around the open spaces that I know, people can come in through, and I didn't see anything.
Did you go outside and check?
I didn't go outside.
Okay, so you just checked around the house?
Yeah.
Did you go in your daughter's room at that time and look in?
No.
Okay.
So, if you heard the noise, why did you say you didn't go into her room?
Because I had a gun. I didn't want to go up in there. Then she got bars on her window, so I just assumed, like, you can't get in there.
You said you don't like guns around her, but are they laid out like that? So she's...
Not normally. Like, when she sleep, then yes, I pull them out. Because, like I said, like, the place been broken into, so I sleep with my guns, like, right there.
What do you think happened this morning?
I don't know.
Where do you think she's at?
I have no clue. Because she wouldn't leave. And I don't even know, like, did they find Mr. Bear? Because she wouldn't go anywhere without that thing.
What?
This little pink teddy bear, she calls him Mr. Bear.
Where were you staying prior to this address?
The Southside address.
And how long did you live at the Southside address?
We were there for like a year and a half.
Okay. And why were you moving?
Because I wanted to move to a different area. Like, I always do this. I did this in Virginia. Like, I live in Norfolk, then like a year later I moved to Virginia Beach.
Okay.
It's out of habit. I just like to move.
So when was your lease up at the Southside address?
In May.
So your lease was up in May, but you were still living there?
Yes. It was up. It went to month to month because I was supposed to put in a notice. They wanted a 60-day notice, and I kept forgetting to put it in.
So for 6 months, you had 2 residents.
Yes.
What 3 days ago made you need to move urgently if you were there if you had both places for 6 months?
That was the day that I actually was like able to find movers, because that was the whole issue. I was like, I didn't know which company am I going to go for. I had been asking around. It was like, just ask people from work. It's like, no, I don't want to ask people.
But you found someone from Craigslist, right?
Yes.
Which you say you do everything from Craigslist. A lot of things.
Majority, like.
So why hadn't you done that 6 months ago?
Just never crossed my mind.
While the officers were questioning Brianna, other detectives were searching the neighborhood for Taylor, asking neighbors whether they had seen her. A search of Brianna's second apartment revealed an unsettling scene. The police found children's clothing stained with feces, a stench of decomposition in her car, and a bedroom that lacked any personal touches of a young child. These findings were in great contrast to the image Brianna had portrayed. Brianna also told the officers that in recent weeks when Taylor was absent, she was staying with her mother in Alabama. Brianna tried to defend herself for nearly an hour as the officers questioned her about her sudden move to a new apartment, her claim of hiring a Craigslist babysitter, and her work schedule at WJAX.
So on Sunday, you get a hold of movers.
Yes.
Okay.
Did they take everything?
Just the big things.
Why didn't you, if you were paying them, why didn't they take everything?
Oh, because it was last minute. I hadn't packed everything, like clothes and stuff. Most of the clothes and stuff are still there.
Okay. So what was the urgency? Why couldn't you wait to find a mover once you had everything packed up and ready to go so that you can move everything in one go round?
I didn't even think about that.
We're going to call the movers. We're going to call your mom, and we're going to verify some information. Okay. You know where this is going to lead to?
No.
Okay. So the movers, it was pretty abrupt. You needed to be out of that house that day, Sunday, according to the conversation that one of my partners had with the detective, with the movers. Okay. What was what was the urgency?
It wasn't urgent.
According to the movers, it was I had to be out today.
I didn't tell them that.
The police found it weird that she held 2 residences for over 6 months, and suddenly, just 3 days ago, she moved to her new apartment. Brianna claimed that she hadn't moved because despite her efforts, she hadn't found movers. The detectives also asked why she hadn't packed fully from her former residence. Brianna said she hadn't thought about it. Unfortunately for Brianna, the officers had already spoken to the movers. They said her request for them to move her things seemed quite urgent when she contacted them. What was most confusing was that the movers said they didn't see any child with her. When the detectives asked Brianna why that was so, she claimed that she just didn't want them to see Taylor because she didn't really know them.
These two women, Brianna Williams and Tiffany Nicole, met through a Craigslist request. Williams wanted to hire someone to help her move. The price, $250. Tiffany Nicole and her fiance went to an apartment here on the South Side. This is where Williams and her daughter Taylor lived. As Tiffany Nicole and her fiance moved boxes, she says Brianna told her that there was a child in the home, but Tiffany wasn't so sure.
She had mentioned to my fiance, he said that she had a daughter in the bathroom, and he heard water running, but again, never saw or heard a child.
Nicole said Williams stayed in the back room of the apartment, not saying much. Nicole described the apartment as disgusting. When everything was loaded up, they came to this house in Brentwood. Nicole said that's when things became a little more bizarre.
About 40 minutes in, the questioning became more intense. The detectives revealed to Brianna her mother's claim that she hadn't seen Taylor since January 2019, which directly contradicts her statements to them. Brianna had previously claimed that Taylor had been with her mother in October. At this point, it became glaring to the detectives that something was off.
Anybody take care of the 5-year-old, of your daughter?
Here, no. Well, she was going to the CDC on base.
Okay.
So she, kindergarten and the CDC.
When was the last time she was at CDC? I'm sorry if I'm asking you some questions.
That's okay. May.
Last there in May? And I understand she was in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, she was with my mom.
Okay. Your mom, who's your mom?
Carissa.
Carissa. And how long was she in Tuscaloosa? When did she go there?
That was off and on. She's been there pretty much all summer, actually.
So you went down there to pick her up and brought her back here for one day?
Over the weekend.
Because
it's only like 7-8 hour drive. Like, I used to drive from Virginia to Alabama over a weekend, and that's 17 hours. So.
Okay.
So you bring her back on the 31st. How long was that visit?
That one was since the beginning of October.
So the full month she stayed in October with your mom, Carissa.
And prior to you dropping her down there October 1st, or the first part of October, when was the last time she was there before then?
Like the first week of September she was here.
Mm-hmm.
I think whenever the storm hit.
Would your mom be able to tell us what days when she last saw your daughter? Because I think we have her number, right?
Yeah.
So if we call her, she's going to say that she saw her in the month of August.
Yeah.
Okay. So when she was here with you, during the weeks or weekends and you had to work, who was watching her?
Oh, no, like when she was here, like those days that I'm off. So no one is watching her besides me.
So since you've gotten back on the 31st, you have not been to work?
No,
okay.
I'm still on leave.
You're
I'm
on leave
until this morning.
How long have you been on leave?
It's been since October the 29th or the 30th. The 28th? I'm not sure.
You would take her to your mom every time?
Yes, or I just leave her there. That's why. I was like, I couldn't, the back and forth, and I didn't want anybody else watching her. Like, I don't know people here like that.
But you were going to take her to the lady you met on Craigslist today to watch her.
They called your mom.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't seen your daughter since January.
Yeah, she has.
Okay, why would she say that?
October.
Why would she say that? This is Carissa. This is your mom.
That's my mom.
Why would she say that?
She would not say that. I'm done with this. I don't want to talk
No.
about it. Yes, I am done. Because you're lying to me now. So
how am I lying to you? I'm not lying to you.
You just said that my mom said, I literally picked my mom. I mean, not my mom.
I'm just telling you what my partner said. And I'd like to explain to you, but
I don't know where to get that from because I literally went down there.
Do you want to talk
Halloween night?
Do you want to talk to the detectives I spoke with her and then get that? Find out what the information they gave?
I'm done with this because I don't know where this is going, but no. Like, it's the second time this has happened. Like, some other lady was, like, saying stuff that I didn't even say. Like, she was twisting my words. Like, no.
Unknown to her, the police had called her mother to confirm her statement that Taylor had been with her. The detective pushed further, asking, "So you don't want to answer any more questions about your daughter's whereabouts?" Brianna insists, "I don't know where she is. I've told you everything I know." After this, the detectives leave her alone in the room for the next 10 hours. At this point, the officers had gotten to a dead end, and all hopes of finding Taylor seemed dim, but they continued searching. As the search continued, the focus began to shift from finding a missing child to unraveling the truth behind Brianna's increasingly dubious story. In a conversation with Carissa, Brianna's mom, the police repeatedly asked whether Taylor had been with her recently, but she insisted that she hadn't seen the girl since January. To further complicate matters, Brianna's parents insisted that she was lying, and they didn't know why. Taylor's father also said he had not been in contact with Brianna or his daughter. The testimony from Brianna's neighbors and the movers insinuated that Taylor had not been seen in either of Brianna's residences. Other detectives decided to check Brianna's second apartment, where they found things in a disarray. They also found the smell of feces, cleaning supplies, and human waste. As they checked the bedroom, the stench was even more pungent. Back in the interrogation room, Brianna didn't seem bothered or worried and found ways to occupy herself. After about 11 hours spent in the investigation room, her command sent an officer to come pick her up because she wasn't allowed to return to either of her residences, as the police were still investigating the locations. Her cell phone was also seized. The search for Taylor was not limited to Jacksonville. As days turned into a week, the detectives expanded their efforts to neighboring states. By November 11, 2019, search teams had traveled to Demopolis, Alabama, following leads that suggested Taylor might be in the area. This decision marked a critical turn in the investigation. Authorities had to piece together Brianna's movements, which included a complex trail leading from Jacksonville to Alabama. The police attempted to get Brianna to talk by asking her father to call and ask some questions that would hopefully prompt Brianna to reveal important details, but she only got upset about it. She kept saying she wanted to sleep and was tired of being asked questions over and over again, so she hung up on him. However, when the detectives tried again, but this time using two of her closest friends, the officers scored a bit of success. Her friends tried to get her to speak by asking if she knew why her mother insisted that she hadn't seen Taylor. Brianna replied that her mother was lying. Her friends also asked if there was anything in her apartment that could assist the police in the case, but strangely, Brianna laughed and said no, claiming that if there was such a thing, the detectives would have found it. Brianna sounded very unconcerned about her daughter's disappearance when talking with her friends, and she even asked her friend to stop thinking about it.
Hey.
How you doing?
Okay.
You just been resting today?
Yeah, I'm going to well. Go by the water.
Chief said anything to you today?
No. He called and asked if I needed something from the commissary, but that was it.
You ain't talked to your dad about it today?
No. Yeah? No.
Did he go back?
Yeah.
Is your mama gonna come down?
I have no clue.
You're so quiet. You miss us already?
No.
You don't miss us?
That messed up, bro.
Just because you mad. I'm such a damn man.
Anything been on your mind today? You had anything on your mind today?
No.
Like, ain't no, like, coverage on Taylor no more. Like, everything that kind of, like, died down. Like, we, like, super kind of nervous that they just count them in there. Like people done forgot. Like, basically, they just, like, they moving on in the world. And
what? They just gonna forget her?
We need you to say something because, like, that's the only thing I feel like that'll bring, like, some light back to her story. Some.
Well, we really just want to know just what's going on. We still, like, you know, we're going to be there for you. We want to be there, so we want to know what's going on for that closure.
I don't even know what's going on.
You ain't heard nothing?
No, like, nobody talks to me. Like, the only time somebody call for me is, like, oh, what y'all doing? I'm doing, I don't know. I'm pretty sure my chief is doing it to make sure I'm not, I didn't off myself, because he calls, like, very randomly. people coming knocking on the door like, oh, you're not who I'm looking for. Bro, you know what room this is. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Especially you the CDO too, like you're the the duty person.
Yeah.
I know why you here. Don't act like, you just popping up here.
Did your mama come down there? Because she had told us that, she had told your daddy that she was coming down yesterday.
She been coming since Wednesday.
I was about to say she's been coming there since the day that it happened.
But like she just
I've given up on her. Like, I don't know what the hell going on with my mom.
I think you might need to ask her, like, why y'all's story is different. Like, why you saying that if she, she really was here?
Mm.
What that's about? You need to ask her that.
Do you think I'm gonna get a true answer after all this?
I don't know, but you don't want to at least want to know why she's saying that?
Like, what is her reason?
I mean, I do, but do y'all really believe she's gonna tell the truth? She hasn't told the truth yet.
I don't know what her reasoning is for this, to keep the lie going for so long. Cause
I mean, it's too late now. She can't backtrack.
Do you think it's something maybe in the old apartment that they'll find that'll help? Like,
no.
Figures?
Because if they did, they would have found her. Remember, they done closed out both of them. They've been closed out for 3 days, 4 days now.
So, Brianna, you hadn't thought about, like, her just being out there by herself? She's scared of everything. Like, that, you don't think about that?
Girl, I don't want to think about that right now.
I mean, well, I've been thinking about it.
Okay, then don't think about that.
It's cold. That's kind of why I think I can't sleep knowing that it's, and you know how innocent she was. Like, she really cling to the people she know. I think that's why it's eating me up so much.
At this point, it was no longer a speculation that Brianna was hiding something. They knew it. So the detectives then decided to place her under close watch, only to find Brianna donating her daughter's clothes and toys just days after her disappearance. So, the officers decided to investigate her residence again, but this time with cadaver dogs. While there, the detectives discovered stains on the carpet, inside the closet, and more stains inside Brianna's car. Solidifying their fear, the detectives found an air freshener that was likely used to dull out the offensive smell that was present in the car. On November 12, 2019, the grim reality of Taylor's fate was revealed. In a rural part of Marengo County, Alabama, search teams discovered remains suspected to be Taylor's. The location was near the cemetery where Brianna's grandfather had been interred. The body was found in a shallow grave, wrapped in a garbage bag, and buried in a manner that suggested an attempt to conceal evidence. The detectives also reviewed Brianna's cell phone records, which revealed that she made 3 trips to Alabama. The third trip took her to Demopolis, which was close to where the already decomposing body was eventually discovered. The police also discovered a text sent from Brianna to a former colleague where she alleged that Taylor had become a nightmare and had started stealing food. After the discovery of the body, an arrest warrant for Brianna was ordered for lying to the police and for disrupting justice. The police found further evidence that Brianna had driven to Alabama and spent about 30 minutes close to the cemetery where the body was found. They also discovered that she had stopped at a car wash on that day. Armed with these discoveries, the detectives instructed Brianna's commander to take her into the police station. However, while being transported in his vehicle, Brianna suddenly experienced a seizure and became unresponsive. He had tried asking her if she had any idea why the police wanted to investigate her when she suddenly began vomiting and went limp.
Now they're saying that you're a person of interest now.
Brianna's condition became critical.
Say again. Come on. You ain't going on me like that. Come on. Shock, man. You gotta get her in.
All right, go get help.
Yeah.
Get help. Hey, Brianna, can you hear me?
Her commanding officer rushed her to the hospital for emergency treatment, where she slipped into a coma and was placed on life support. The doctors were initially baffled, unable to determine the cause of her condition or how to treat it. It was later discovered that Brianna had ingested laundry detergent upon learning that her daughter's body had been found. Once this was identified, the doctors were able to administer appropriate medical care. Brianna's actions only heightened the detectives' suspicions, further confirming their fears that she was indeed involved in her daughter's disappearance and death. Once Brianna's condition stabilized, she was formally arrested. Her arrest marked the beginning of a legal battle that would ultimately expose the full extent of her actions and decisions. The case against her, marked by the shocking discovery of her daughter Taylor's remains and the mounting evidence of her deceit, led to a significant turning point in the legal proceedings. Brianna was brought into custody again by the police to be given another chance to tell the truth about her daughter's disappearance. She seemed very distressed and scared. The police tried asking her questions, but she insisted that she didn't want to talk, and she was left alone. Days after the police discovered the decomposing body in Alabama, DNA results confirmed it was indeed Taylor. Further analysis of her teeth revealed signs of malnutrition, suggesting she was likely starved to death and left in that stained closet. As the investigation progressed, the narrative of what really happened to Taylor Williams began to surface. The court proceedings revealed shocking details about Brianna's actions. Evidence presented in court included forensic reports and testimonies that outlined a disturbing sequence of events. Brianna's statements to psychologists and law enforcement were crucial in understanding the case. During her interactions with a psychologist, she described finding Taylor dead in their apartment a month before she reported her missing. The psychologist's testimony highlighted Brianna's mental state and her attempts to conceal the truth.
The best that she could recall, and what she told me, was that somewhere toward the end of September and October, she had a hard time pinpointing it exactly. The IHOP purchase might be relevant because she recalled buying Halloween waffles, and she knew Halloween waffles, and it was sometime when they did introduce that. So somewhere around the weekend, one of the weekends there, she was up. It was a Saturday. She was studying, which seemed to be consistent with her planner and diary. She had studying scheduled on that, it was in the evening. Taylor had wanted to stay up and was eating some stuff, wanted to eat and watch some movie or something on some video or electronic thing with her. Brianna was studying, was tired. Brianna went to sleep early. No, she took some over-the-counter sleep medications or not. Interestingly, she was comfortable with Taylor staying up and putting herself to bed. Evidently, that was kind of not unusual for her. Brianna slept till around 11 o'clock noon the next day. It was when she kind of noticed something was odd, because Taylor would typically get up very early and be up and about and whatever. She said she searched for her on the bed, under the bed, before she found her in the closet, slumped over, thought she was asleep, tried to wake her up, but she fell over and was cold.
Brianna had initially sought to cover up Taylor's death, leaving her body in a container before discarding it. Forensic evidence further exposed the depth of Brianna's deception. The condition of Taylor's remains suggested neglect and mistreatment. The fact that Taylor's body had been left in a container for an extended period before being discarded indicated a deliberate attempt to hide the crime. The forensic analysis also revealed that Taylor had died well before her remains were found, reinforcing the timeline of Brianna's deceit. In March 2023, Brianna pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, a decision that was motivated by the overwhelming evidence against her and her own acknowledgement of guilt. This plea deal was a strategic move that allowed her to avoid a trial, where the full details of her crime would be laid bare in a public court. By pleading guilty, Brianna acknowledged her role in her daughter's death, thereby avoiding the possibility of a death sentence or a first-degree murder charge, which could have resulted in a more severe penalty. The plea deal not only reflected Brianna's acceptance of responsibility, but also had significant implications for the legal process. It made the court proceedings easier so that the court could focus its attention on the sentencing phase rather than a lengthy trial. The deal also served as a means for Brianna to express some measure of remorse, although the sincerity of her regret was a matter of intense debate among those affected by the case. The sentencing hearings that followed were a critical phase in the legal process, providing a platform for the presentation of evidence, witness testimonies, and the court's ultimate judgment. These hearings offered a comprehensive view of the circumstances surrounding Taylor's death and Brianna's actions. During the hearings, significant testimonies and evidence were presented, shedding light on the sad reality of Taylor's final days. Key witnesses included forensic experts, law enforcement officials, and psychological professionals who provided insight into the nature of the crime. The testimony of a psychologist, for instance, was very important. He detailed Brianna's statements about discovering her daughter's lifeless body and the period of time she left Taylor's remains unattended. This testimony painted a painful picture of emotional detachment. The court also heard from neighbors and other individuals who had observed Taylor's living conditions before her disappearance. Their statements highlighted the troubling signs of neglect that had been present in Brianna's home. One neighbor testified about seeing Taylor left alone and the subsequent lack of response from Brianna when offers of help were extended.
I said, "Taylor, what are you doing out here?" She said, "I'm looking for my mama." I looked over, I didn't see my mom's car. I said, "Look, what you need to do is go back in the house, close the door, and let me hear you lock it." Right? And she went in, and she closed the door. I said, "I didn't hear you lock it." And she locked the door. I said, "Okay."
These testimonies emphasized the prolonged suffering Taylor had endured and the indifference displayed by her mother. Evidence presented included photographs of the crime scene, forensic reports, and Brianna's own recorded statements. The visual evidence, such as images of Taylor's decomposed body and the condition of her clothing, was particularly useful in showing the severity of the neglect and the efforts made by Brianna to hide the crime. The forensic reports also specified the presumed timeline of Taylor's death, which had to be weeks or months before her disappearance was reported. The final sentencing was a highly anticipated moment, marking the end of the legal proceedings. On the day of sentencing, Judge Kevin Blazes delivered a thorough verdict, reflecting on the gravity of the case and the impact on Taylor's life. A statement was read on Brianna's behalf because she was too frightened and anxious to speak for herself. In her statement, she expressed deep regret, saying, "I know what I did was wrong. I failed as a mother, a protector, and as a decent person. I didn't call the police right away, and when I did, I kept lying. I missed every chance to make things right. I am truly sorry for everyone affected by this tragedy. Since losing my daughter, I've been in constant torment. I even tried to end my own life to escape the pain, but I'm not asking for sympathy. I believe I deserve everything that has come my way over these past years, both externally and internally. I lost the most important person in my life, and in losing her, I lost myself. I take full responsibility for everything. I am pleading guilty to murder and blame no one but myself." Judge Blazes sentenced Brianna Williams to life in prison, a decision that reflected the severity of her crime and the profound consequences of her actions. The sentence was delivered with a deep sense of the tragedy involved, acknowledging the loss of a young life and the failure of a mother to protect her child. The judge's remarks were focused on the devastating impact of Taylor's death and the betrayal of trust that Brianna's actions represented. In his remarks, Judge Blazes emphasized the emotional and moral failure that defined the case. He noted the contrast between Brianna's service in the Navy and the heinous nature of her crime. The judge also took into account the extensive evidence presented, including the psychological and forensic analyses and the testimonies that outlined the full scope of Taylor's suffering. Brianna was 30 years old when she was given a life sentence and is now serving her time at Lowell Correctional Institution in Florida. By the time of her sentencing, she had already been in custody for 1,043 days. While the life sentence ensured that Brianna would face significant punishment for her crime, it also reflected the deep loss suffered by Taylor's family and the broader community. The sentencing closed a dark chapter in the case, offering a measure of closure, but leaving a lasting impact on all who had been affected by the heartbreaking story of Taylor Rose Williams. Taylor's story, marked by profound loss and distressing revelations, highlights critical shortcomings in both child welfare practices and the broader support systems meant to protect vulnerable children. It emphasizes the urgent need for vigilance and reform in child protection systems. What do you think about the verdict? Do you think Brianna's guilty plea was a way to avoid harsher punishment? Or was it a true acknowledgement of her guilt? How do you feel about the outcome of her legal battle? In cases like this, where a child's suffering goes unnoticed for so long, what do you think can be done to ensure better protection and early intervention? I would love to know your thoughts. Let us continue the conversation in the comments down below. And as always, I'll meet you there. Thank you, Taylor, for being a beacon of love and light. May you rest in eternal peace. And again, thank you, My Heritage, for sponsoring this video. Keeping track of family is important. So don't wait to start building your family tree. Dive into your family history today. Try it free for 14 days. Trust me, you'll be amazed.